Assalamualaikum and good day to the panel of this VIVA presentation. Today our group from JBA1145D would like to present investment analytics of Padini Holding Berhad. But beforehand, let me introduce all members of our group. My name is Nurathirah binti Mohamad Nasir. The second presenter will be Nurathirah Balqis binti Haris. The third presenter is Aiman Haziq bin Anwar. The fourth presenter is Siti Nazurah binti Nazri. And the fifth presenter is Nur Anisah binti Khairil Anwar. So, Padini Holding Berhad is a Malaysia-based investment holding company, which under a variety of brands. The company mainly active in selling clothes, shoes, and luxury accessories. The company operates through 5 segments. Vinci Ladies Specialty Centres in Berhad offer brands such as Tizio, Vinci, and Vinci Accessories.
Next, I am going to present fundamental analysis. This is where fundamental analysts research everything that impact the importance of protection from macroeconomic factors such as the state of the economy and circumstances of the market. Next, financial statement. Financial statement, it is important because it includes the past performance for the company, and to predict the potential performance, investors who is using fundamental analysis will look at this financial statement. Besides, for balance sheet, it is the data for all handy knowledge to be found, not only cash flow, portion of such properties that are being backed up by debt or share. Let's see the trend analysis of Padini Holdings from 2016 until 2020. Padini recorded the best figure in 2020 in quick ratio and current ratio. The trend of these two ratios is increasing year by year. Next, for activity ratio, account receivable turnover, average collection period, total asset turnover, and fixed asset turnover in year 2019 recorded the highest figure compared to other years. However, for inventory turnover, year 2017 shows the better figure compared to other years. Next, for leverage ratio, debt to equity ratio and debt ratio from year 2016 until 2019 is decreasing, but it increased in year 2020. It shows that 2019 has the better figure compared to other years. For times interest earned, it shows that year 2019 recorded the better figure because it is the highest among the other years. Next, for profitability ratio, gross profit margin and return on equity in year 2016 recorded the highest compared to other years, while return on asset, operating profit margin and net profit margin in year 2018 recorded the highest figure, and it is better than other years. Next, for market ratio, earning price share, price earning ratio, and dividend payout ratio in year 2018 recorded the better figure because it is the highest compared to other years. Then, for book value per share, it shows that in year 2019 is the highest while the lowest is in year 2016. For dividend per share, the highest is in year 2019 while the lowest is in year 2016. Next, we move on to comparative analysis between Padini Holdings, Bonia and Paksen. For current ratio, Bonia recorded the highest in year 2018 compared to the other company, while the lowest is Paksen, which recorded in year 2017 and 2020. For quick ratio, Bonia shows the highest figure in year 2018 compared to Padini, while the lowest quick ratio is Paksen in year 2017. For net working capital from 2016 until 2019, Padini Holdings is showing an increasing movement and slightly decline in year 2020. For inventory turnover, Paksen recorded the highest figure, which is in year 2019, while the lowest is Bonia recorded in year 2020. Next, for average collection period, Padini recorded the better figure from year 2016 until 2020 compared to the competitors, and it shows that Padini has the good collection procedures and customer paying on time. For fixed asset turnover, Padini shows the better figure in year 2019 compared to Bonia and Paksen. It shows that Padini is efficient in using its asset to generate sales. Then, for total asset turnover, Padini shows the highest figure in year 2019 compared to the competitors, while the lowest figure is Paksen, which recorded in year 2020. Lastly, for activity ratio is account receivable turnover. It shows that Padini has the better figure in year 2019 compared to Bonia and Paksen. It shows that Padini has a very strong credit, while the lowest figure is Bonia in year 2017. Then, for debt-equity ratio, Pakistan recorded the lowest figure in year 2016. However, Bonia recorded lowest amount from year 2016 until 2020, which means a less exposure to financial risk. Next, for debt ratio, Padini recorded the lowest figure in year 2019, which is 22.52%, and the highest figure is Pakistan in year 2020. Then, for times interest earned, Padini recorded the better figure in year 2019 compared to the competitors. Padini has 132.81 available to cover every ringgit of interest expenses, while Pakistan recorded the lowest figure. For net profit margin, Padini recorded the better figure in year 2018 compared to other competitors, while Pakistan recorded the lowest figure in year 2020, which recorded negative figure 19.29%. For gross profit margin, Bonia recorded the highest figure in year 2018 compared to Padini and Pakistan, which recorded 16.79%, while Pakistan recorded the lowest figure compared to Padini and Bonia, and the lowest figure is in year 2016, which recorded negative 4.18%. For return on asset, Padini recorded the better figure in year 2018 compared to the other competitors, which means Padini is effective in generating profits from their assets, while Pakistan recorded the lowest figure in 2020, which amounted to negative 6%. For return on equity, Padini also recorded the better figure in year 2016 compared to other competitors, while Pakistan recorded negative figure, which recorded negative 23.91%. Lastly, for profitability ratio, operating profit margin is showing that Pakistan has the better figure in year 2020 compared to Padini and Bonia. This shows that Pakistan has an ability to control all costs except tax and interest charge. However, Pakistan also recorded the lowest figure in year 2019, which amounted to 0.66%. Next, we move to earning per share. Padini recorded the highest figure in 2018. However, if it is too high, it may be a signal that the stock is overvalued and may be due for a fall. While Pakistan recorded the lowest figure since 2016 until 2020, then for price earning ratio, Padini shows the highest figure in year 2018, which amounted to 22% compared to other competitors, and Pakistan recorded the lowest figure. Then, for dividend per share, Bonia recorded the highest figure in year 2018 compared to Padini and Pakistan, while Pakistan recorded the lowest figure in year 2016, which amounted to 0.0142. For dividend payout ratio, Pakistan recorded the highest figure, which it indicates these companies are not able to maintain its current level of dividends compared to Padini and Bonia. Lastly, Padini recorded the highest amount of book value per share in year 2019 compared to the competitors, which recorded RM10.64, and it means Padini stock is selling for more than its book value, while Bonia recorded the lowest figure in year 2020 amounted to 0.4794.
Okay, we move to statistical analysis. First is risk and return. It is highly correlated. Return on investment is expressed as a percentage. Diversification allows investors to reduce overall risk associated with their portfolio. Move to the arithmetic mean and variance. Arithmetic mean is the sum of collection of number divided by the amount of numbers in the collection as well as simply the mean or average. From the table shows, it's shown that Padini has the average rate of return for its investment is 1.1109, which is lower than Bonia, that is about 3.3459, and the average of return for Pakistan is negative 1.8842. For variance is used for the distribution of probabilities. It is used for evaluate volatility and market security for both analysis and traders. As we can see the table, Padini has the lowest variance, which is 115.7149, followed by Bonia, that is largest of all, has a 1306.2992, and Pakistan has 194.0193. We move to the standard deviation and covariance. Standard deviation is a statistic that calculates the amount of variance or depression relative to the mean of a set of value. As we can see at the table, Padini gained 10.7571, which is the lowest, since Bonia has 36.1428. It means that Bonia has the higher because the Pakistan gained about 13.929. Covariance is the measure of the level to which two variables move together over time compared to their individual mean value. From the table, the covariance for Padini is 9.6828, which is good, but if Padini compare with Bonia, Bonia is better than other than companies because Bonia has about 10.80220, which is the highest of all. However, Paksan is negative 7.3928, which is the lowest compared to KLCI that has 4.7018. Move to the regression analysis. For the regression analysis of our company in between variable X and Y, show a positive relationship. The alpha show a positive value due to the perform benchmark at 1.1225. Padini has a low risk because the beta value show a positive value. Coefficient or correlation between Padini and KLCI show a positive correlated, but it has a very low relationship. The coefficient of determination determine that it has a low impact of the company. Move to the security market line of the Padini. Padini is undervalued. Padini expected return is higher than market price. This indicates that higher return show higher risk. Investors are preferable to purchase undervalued stock compared to the expected return. Move to the SML diagram. As we can see, this is a SML diagram. The reason why Padini market is undervalued, it is because the return market is 6.958 lower than expected return, which is 13.1092. The stock valuation is better than what market wants. The company has a valuable stock that can be bought by investor. Move to the company intrinsic value. As we can see the table, price earning ratio is 211.78 times. They would say price earning ratio for the stock price of RM 2.75 is very bad for investor, and this stock will be said to be undervalued. The book value per share show that it recorded lower than market price, which is RM 2 ringgit 0.75. Market value is 2.75 higher than intrinsic value record. The book value per share is 1.16. It is recommended that current investors are advised to hold from buying the stock. That's all for statistical analysis. For the technical analysis, I will pass to Nazurah.
So now, I'm going to proceed on the technical analysis. Technical analysis is a trading discipline employed to evaluate investment and identify trading opportunities by analyzing statistical trends gathered from trading activity, for example, price movement and volume. Now, let's move on to the indices and the comparison of the chart. As you can see on the left side, this is the diagram on the FTSE Bursa Malaysia KSI Index for 5 years from 2016 to 2020. Based on it, it shows that the performance of the FTSE Bursa Malaysia KSI Index has been in the sideways movement from the year of 2016 to 2019. In 2020, it started to fluctuate rapidly and recovered in the bullish movement to the current month. Meanwhile, on the left side, this indicates the diagram on the comparative analysis in the 5 years. In the comparative analysis, it is important to be considered as it compares the selected company's price behavior with the behavior and the movement of the others. In this scope, we compare the selected company, which is Padini Corporation Berhad, with the KLCI to complete the comparative analysis. Besides, the KLCI also can be taken as the indicator to determine the movement of the Padini share. Overall, the year 2016 to 2019, there is a negative relationship between the KLCI and the Padini Holding Berhad's price, as they are not aligned in the trend movement. As in 2020, there is a strong positive relationship between KLCI and Padini Holding Berhad price. Next, we move on the trend analysis. Briefly, trend analysis is the direction of a market, for example, which way is it moving. Generally, trend analysis is a technical analysis of the movement of the stock based on the past performance. For example, this is the graph trend analysis of Padini Holding Berhad for 5 years from 2016 to 2020. Based on the diagram on the right side, it indicates that the price movement of the share has increased from 1st January 2018 to 18 December 2017. This shows that the investor has the interest in buying the share of the company. Thus, this progression gives the trend line its upward sloping. Whereas, on 14 May to 5 November 2018, the chart shows a sideways pattern. This is because the forces of supply and demand are nearly equal. However, the price movement dropped significantly from 12 November 2018 to 3 November 2020 for a longer period before it continues to remain constant. Therefore, it creates a downtrend pattern. Now, as you can see, this is a detailed diagram on the types of trend in Padini Holdings Berhad trading chart, which are downtrend, upward, and sideways pattern. Now, we move on to the support and resistance. On the left side, as you can see, this is the diagram on the support and resistance of Padini Holding Berhad. Based on the graph, it shows that the support and resistance come into pairs. The reason why it comes into pair at the same line is because when the price breaks out from the line, the support will become resistant. Thus, it will create a new support or resistance line. Meanwhile, on the right side, this is the detailed explanation on the support and resistance. Briefly, support is the price level at which demand is thought to be strong enough to prevent the price from declining further, whereas resistance is the price level at which selling is thought to be strong enough to avoid the price from rising further. Moving on to the three types of market trend. There are three types of market trend in Padini Holding Berhad, which are: number 1, major trend. This type of trend usually lasts more than a year and several years. Number 2, secondary trend. This trend represents correction in primary trends and usually lasts for 3 weeks to 3 months with retracement normally between 1/3 and 2/3 of the previous trend. Number 3, minor trend. This is a shorter term fluctuation in the intermediate trend less than 3 weeks or 1 month or below. Now, let's move on to the chart pattern analysis and analysis indicator signal. As you can see, on the left side, this is the figure that shows Padini Holding Berhad's pattern in the trading chart for 5 years. There are 3 types of pattern, which are double top, bearish rectangle, and also double bottom. Meanwhile, on the right side, this is the analysis indicator signal, where the current price of the Padini on 14 December 2020 was RM2.97. However, the investor predicted that the price will be decreased on 12 February 2021 is RM2.50. Hence, the existing investor who own the share are recommended to sell the share in order to avoid loss.
Now I'm going to present on the part 2 of technical analysis, namely indicator analysis of Padini Holdings Berhad. The first indicator is moving average convergence divergence, which is also known as MACD. This indicator is calculated by subtracting the value of the exponential moving average, and it also shows the relationship between two lines moving average. So for the buy signal, it is indicated when the MACD line crosses above the signal line and above the oscillator while the MACD histogram turns up below 0. It can be shown in the long-term analysis in April 2020 and intermediate analysis on 3rd November 2020. While for the sell signal, is indicated by the MACD line crosses below the signal line and below the oscillator while the MACD histogram turns down above 0. The example can be seen in the short-term analysis on 21st December 2020. Next is simple moving average, which is SMA. It is one of the most reliable and easy to read technical indicators. The buy signal is indicated when the closing price moving above the moving average and it shows a bullish signal. The example can be seen in the long-term analysis in the middle of April 2020, intermediate analysis on 30th November, which is indicated by the green arrow, and short-term analysis on 11th December 2020. Whereas the sell signal is indicated when the closing price moving below the moving average and shows a bearish signal. It can be seen in the long-term analysis in the middle of February 2020. The third indicator is relative strength index. It helps to indicate whether a security has seen more buying or selling pressure over the trading period. The buy signal is detected when the indicator RSI is below 30 and then moves overbought up and crosses over the oversold line, which is undervalued. The example showing the long-term analysis in the middle of March 2020, intermediate analysis on 2nd November 2020, and short-term analysis on 4th November 2020. While the sell signal is detected when the indicator line is above 70 and then moves down and crosses below the overbought line, as an example in the long-term analysis on December 2020. Moving on to the stochastic RSI indicator, it helps to monitor a trend's sustainability and signal reversal in prices. The buy signal is indicated when the percentage K line is above the percentage D line in the oversold range, which is below 20. It is shown in the long-term analysis in the middle of March 2020 and intermediate analysis on 2nd November 2020. As for the sell signal, it is indicated when the percentage K line is below the percentage D line in the overbought range, which is above 80. As an instant in the short-term analysis on 5th December 2020. And the last indicator is William percentage R. This indicator is a comparison of stocks close to the high-low range over a certain period of time, usually 14 days. It oscillates from 0 to negative 100. Readings from 0 to negative 20 is considered as overbought. Meanwhile, from negative 80 to negative 100 is considered oversold. When the indicator line is below the oversold line, which is negative 80, and then rise to cross over the negative 80 line, it indicates a buy signal. As can be shown in the long-term analysis in August 2020 and intermediate analysis on 3rd November 2020. Whereas when the indicator is above the overbought line, which is negative 20, and it falls down below the negative 20 line, it indicates a sell signal. As an example, in the short-term analysis on 9th December 2020. Now, I'd like to pass on the next slide on conclusion and recommendation to the next presenter. Thank you.
As a conclusion from all the presenters, in the latest analysis that we have, which was technical analysis, it is important benchmark for investor whether individual or organization to influence their investment decision. In deciding the best investment decision, economic, company, industry, and fundamental analysis also play a significant role. Since the pandemic of COVID-19 that spread all around the world, the analysis revealed that in the year 2020, Padini holding Berhad decreased revenue and not only had an impact on Padini, but even the economic environment of the current state are also be considered to estimate the performance of the stock market in the nearest future. An economic environment of the country has much influence on the stock market performance. We know that the higher the risk, the more return the investor can gain. Hence, based on the analysis that we have made on the Padini holding Berhad, the decision can be made strategically. The implementation of this analysis in indicating the most suitable decision to be included in investor portfolio would be useful in the short-term investment period as well as in long-term. To sum up, the analysis that we have made on the company is necessary to help the achievement of investor goals. However, we believe that Padini holding Berhad will achieve strong sales formation and global rising earnings by circa 20% per annum over the next 2 years. From the analysis that we have made on its company, fundamental, technical, industry as well, economy that will surely influence the company performance. This because the government has announced that the vaccine of the COVID-19 will be received in March. Therefore, the number of cases will drop by the time that vaccine is released to the citizen, and hopefully the world will be back to the normal. So the demand will grow as the job opportunities increase and people will have a higher purchasing power. Since the current price of Padini holding Berhad is cheap, about RM2.97 on 14 December 2020, and will be estimated to increase. So we encourage the future and existing investor to buy Padini holding Berhad securities. The reason of this recommendation to buy Padini securities is because this security might have proven for having a bright future in the industry of consumer product and service. And that's bring us to the end of the presentation. We did like to thank you to the panel for your time and attention to watch our presentation.